Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of my podcast, which is gonna be about K pop and Korean culture, as you probably could tell from the name already. As is the very first episode, I think it's nice to give you a little introduction about myself and some information about what's the plan, what is the podcast, So, my name is Maya. I am 21 years old and I'm now third year leisure and events management student at Breda University of Applied Sciences. If someone is listening from outside of my university, I'm in the Netherlands, just for your information. I'm originally from Poland, but I came here for my studies 2 years ago. Yeah, well, now it's my third year, so it's been 2 years since I've been living here in the Netherlands. And this podcast is mainly targeted to my university students who are interested in K-pop and Korean culture, but everyone who is slightly interested. So you don't have to be very much invested, but if you're just interested, I'm like, oh, okay, what is this about? Then you're also very welcome. Um, the main idea behind the whole podcast is for me it's gonna be for like an outlet for me to just talk about the things that I'm passionate about because it is a topic that is like very present in my life and it's a big part of my life at this point. So it's just kind of nice to just let it all out and talk about it. And but it's for you guys who want to listen about it. Maybe you don't have someone to talk about it. So I just want to be someone that, you can share this passion with and we can talk about it together. I am very open for collaborations and for just connections in general. And yeah, because I feel like it's still a little, maybe not niche, but it's like for me, from my own experience, I can say it's a little difficult to find someone who is interested in this topic, who is like somewhere near me, somewhere in my environment. It's kind of like difficult to connect. And I decided, and I thought it's like, okay, that would be super cool to have your own podcast, just in general, as as a as a thing. Like, wow, it would be super cool to be a host and have your own podcast. And I've been with this idea for some time now, but I never kind of knew what can be my topic. What could I record about? So obviously, just the idea of like, hey, let's record a podcast is not enough. Like, I was like, okay, I should have something in mind about the content of the podcast. So at some point, I was kind of looking for an assignment for my studies. And I thought of the podcast as a tool, and then I thought, okay, what's the most like what's the thing that I'm most passionate about at the moment, and I can actually talk about it from experience and just because I'm super interested in it. And then I thought, okay, yeah, K-pop obviously for me. So why not connecting those both ideas? And here I have my thing, a podcast about K-pop. So I just I am connecting this to a school project, which obviously my content is not connected. Um, but but yeah, I'm just happy that I can connect my passion with kind of like a school assignment. But this is not just a school assignment, okay? So like I'm just doing it from my pure passion and the desire to kind of talk about this topic and let it all out and meet new people and connect with all of you who are interested. Um, but yeah, obviously, since all of us, probably most of you who are listening right now are university students or just students in general. And you know that life of a student is like very busy, especially if you're also working at the same time. So it's super cool to have your own passion and also like doing some additional things like yeah, for example, recording a podcast, but it's also a lot of time invested in it. And that's why I thought of like, okay, maybe let's just try to combine with school so I can do both at the same time. And I'm super excited about this, and I'm super excited about just starting it all and seeing how it goes. because I was very insecure about it. And since I was very insecure about just the fact of like, oh my God, I don't have any experience with radios or recording or like creating any type of content to be published anywhere, basically. So I was super anxious about this. But I got a lot of support from my lecturer, from just people around who I've shared this idea with. So, and since they were also supportive, I was like, I felt so warm inside. And I was like, you know what? Yes, I should just start. I should just see how it goes. And I think all of us kind of need this a little bit of encouragement and motivation from also someone else. Because from my experience, from what I experienced, I can tell that I'm just overthinking everything. So, if I could just say I'm recording right now, um, this very first episode, and I could be like, you know what, I don't feel prepared enough. Maybe I should, I don't know, research more about this or listen to more podcasts of like to have an idea of like a structure or anything. Basically, you can think of anything that still can be improved, kind of. But if I would keep going, if I would keep telling myself that I'm not prepared enough or I should wait more or I should research more, like whatever, it would never happen. I feel like because you can postpone it all the time, and then you run out of time. You set your priorities differently, and then you're just like, you know what? I don't think it's gonna work. So I just needed this push from people, um, and I also just it's just a lot of your own development kind of in this topic because then you learn of just saying just do it and just start doing it and just see how it goes. And that's super nice and super fun, I would say, because then you can experiment more and then you can just try out things and see what works for you and what doesn't work because you're not going to try. Obviously, you're not going to know if it's fun for you and if it's your thing. So that's why that was my motivation. And my motivation is also connecting with people who are interested in the same things and just talking about it a lot because I love to talk about it. And what's the better idea if you're super fixated on just talking about stuff that you're passionate about and you know that you can share this passion with other people? I think then making your own podcast is the answer. Like if you really feel this need of talking and talking, and for example, I feel like I can't talk that much about it with someone in my environment. Obviously, I have my friends who are interested in the same things because, well, we connect on this level, right? So obviously, I have people that I talk about it. I talk about those stuff with. Um, but it's just like so also the want, the desire of getting to know more people and reaching out more people who are interested in it because I think it's kind of difficult to find someone in your environment who's also interested in it. I'm talking from my own experience, yeah. So I've been into K-pop for 6 years now, and 6 years ago, well, I can maybe tell you also like shortly a story how I got into it. So um, I need to be honest. I got into it by basically making fun of it. So I've been on a Twitter for some years now. I think almost 10 years now. So like since a very young age for me, I feel like, and I was just always very passionate about music and like being invested not only in music but also like I was very invested in the bands that I'm listening to. Like I wanted to know a lot about the artists that I enjoy the music from. So I was very invested in One Direction and Five Seconds of Summer, the Vamps, like those boy bands mostly. Um, and I got into Twitter on a stand Twitter like fandoms, fan accounts, stuff like that. Um, since yeah, I was like 12 or 13 or something. Um, and back in 2016, I used to have a friend who was not like from my city. We met through Twitter, like we met on Twitter, and then um, we were texting a lot, and then we went to the same concerts, so we met a few times. And then in summer 2016, I visited this friend um, to spend some more time together. And as we both were on Twitter and we had this like Stan account, um, we just saw that K-pop is getting like quite popular like on the platform. So a lot of people who were interested in the bands that we were interested in kind of not maybe switched at this point, but they were just also very like starting to be interested in K-pop, and we're like, oh my god, what is it about? Like, so we just we literally wrote K-pop in the search bar at on YouTube, and we just I think the first thing that popped out was Bang 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 by Big Bang or Fantastic Baby by Big Bang, one of those two, and we're just like, you know what? Let's see. For us, I was okay. I don't want to make excuses, but I was 15 at the time. Uh, a lot of things changed like during this time. So, but I was 15, and we just watched it and we just were laughing at it. I was like, what is this? So basically we didn't get the hype. um, but one thing, it was just so catchy, It just stayed in our heads. So I've been staying at this friend's place, I think around 5 days or something. And it was like at the very beginning when I got there. So by the end of those 5 days that I've been there, I had EXO members on my wallpaper. I had Fantastic Baby as my ringtone. And it was still kind of at the first it was like making fun of it, and then I think I looked at EXO at this point, yeah. That was Monster and Lucky One. Those two were like the newest, the latest release from EXO, and it just happened to pop also on YouTube. And we looked at it, we listened to it, and actually I got very much into the music. And then we tried to recognize them, and we tried to learn their names. It was still like low, like it was still kind of making fun, but you eventually just get very curious and interested in it. And then when I got home and my mom was picking me up from the train station, and I was like, Mom, you will never guess in what type of music I got into. And she couldn't obviously guess because, it's been it was 6 years ago. It was not that popular. And people still didn't know, especially in Poland, like not many people were into it. So, uh, my mom had no idea. And then I just dived into it, and then it just started. EXO, GOT7, BTS, Big Bang, Shiny. I think that was like the most. Those were the bands that I got the most into back then. At this point, and also it was also a year that NCT made their debut, so I was like also very interested in the concept because it's still very unique. And I'm still a still a very very big fan of NCT in general. But that was like the beginnings, and that's how it's all started. And it was just I think it all, for a lot of people, it just starts like this. Oh yeah, you hear one song and it's kind of catchy, and you're like, oh, let's just see what are their names. And then it never stops at just learning their names. Like, you can't stop at just knowing the members' names. You just get invested. Not even like, okay, it may not just stop with like one group, or like one group is not very for you. Like, it seems like, oh, like the music is not very that much for me, and then you switch to something else. And because K-pop is such a broad like genre, it's not just like pop music, it's like it's connecting a lot of different music genres. um and for me, in my opinion, a lot of people, maybe not everyone, of course, but a lot of people could actually find something they like in K-pop, because this is so broad. uh, so basically, most of the people who are also in like other genres of music, more like are like, I don't know, alternative rock or like rock in general, or electric music. Maybe not electrical music. That's a little debate. Well, it's for example, like NCT has some more of those. Yeah, I think NCT has more of those electronic sounds in in their songs, at least in their title songs. But I feel like it's just so broad, and it's not just for now. Obviously, everyone recognized BTS. Well, it's this got super big, and when I obviously was starting in 2016, I would never say that they would mm, be so big on in like Western culture and like Western countries. Um, but it's yeah, it just got super big. It developed so fast at this point as well. Um, so yeah, so like when we say K-pop, it's usually like BTS. Like people just associate it with BTS because though like this is the band that got it very big right now at the in the West. So that's completely understandable, but I just want people to know that it's like so much more. And of course, it's maybe it's also a little bit overwhelming for some people because since it's so broad and it's so big, and there's so many bands and artists in general um, in this, yeah, in this spectrum, let's say, that again, it can get overwhelming, and it can maybe discourage you to dive deeper into it because there's just so much. Like, what do you even start with, and like, how do you find something that you're actually into? So it's not for everyone, and that's okay, and that's understandable. But as I said, I think it's just super fun to like connect with people who are invested or like want to get interested in it. And I'm here to kind of with the podcast use this podcast as a platform to connect with you guys and talk about stuff that we're all interested in and that you want to also hear about. And for me, it will be super fun to share it with you and share my opinions and some information. Maybe it also can be a little bit of like updates about what happened in the industry, since there's a lot of things happening in the industry every week. So I think we have a lot of content to talk about, so I'm not worrying about this. And yeah, since as we all know, it's still kind of difficult to find people who are also interested in the same thing. I just It's also kind of like this this podcast and the thing that I'm gonna create around this. I'm hoping to give you this space of being comfortable and being excited of sharing this with people who are actually around you. And because, as I said, I'm mostly targeting it to my university students. Because I think it would be super fun to have someone around you that you can talk about K-pop, and maybe also connect on the level of like, oh, let's go to this concert together, or like let's go to some festival together. I've been to a Korean culture festival with my friend Mariam. Mariam, I know you're listening. I know you're listening, so thank you for your support. And we went to this Korean culture festival in Amsterdam, and it was super crowded. Like, it also we didn't expect so many people to go there, so it also can show you. I think we're gonna maybe Mariam, you're listening, are you down to record an episode about it? Maybe we can create a call, like a whole episode about the experience that we got from the festival, because it was very fun. But it was also so crowded. We didn't expect this, so that's what I'm saying about, it got super big, but still it's like very difficult to find someone specifically in your environment to share this passion with. So and so this podcast is also a little bit of like, encouraging people who are into this to just share your passion with others, or just maybe if you don't want to share it that much, just like don't be embarrassed of being into this, because if it gives you happiness and if it makes you happy, and then you don't harm anyone with just being interested in it, then why would you be embarrassed about it? And that's what I also keep learning. And yeah, it's just that something that it's not still maybe fully developed in myself as well. But I would really like to learn it completely, to not be embarrassed about things that I'm passionate about and being scared of being judged by other people. So it's also an encouragement for you guys. Uh, and since we're gonna connect on this level and we're gonna have each other here, it's also maybe creating this, this safe space for us all to have someone with the same energy, and just it would be super fun to have someone to talk about those stuff. Especially today. Today is the day, actually. I'm recording is on the day that Stray Kids released their album. I've listened to it twice already, but I think I can just record a whole new episode about Stray Kids and the album in general. So I'm not gonna dive deep into this, but yeah, like, oh my god, it's been released, and it would be so fun to have someone, you go to university and you're like, oh my god, did you hear this album? I don't know, that's how I feel, and I feel like it's not just me. So i'm just I'm just saying, guys, just let's go, let's get this, let's meet, let's talk. um because for me also, throughout my whole, like throughout my K-pop experience, whether, let's say, from my life, it's been like everywhere there was at least like one person. Well, not maybe not at least, just one person. So, when I got into K-pop, I was in middle school. I had one friend who was like interested in it in my class. Then I got into high school, and I also connected on this topic with now my best friend Kasia. I hope you're also listening. It's about you. So, and we're like friends till now. So it's like very bonding. And then in my case, it's also being on Twitter and connecting with people there. So also my bestie Victoria was also listening probably. Um and we're like, we're super close, even though it's also difficult because like we're all over the place. Like my friends in Poland, I'm here in the Netherlands, or Kasia is in England, or so it's obviously not that easy because of the distance, but it's all like very bonding. Um so that's what I'm saying. Like I know that it's not just me that feels that way. Um it's also very exciting for me, and it's like fun to see people walking around with some merch, or uh, some, yeah, just like, I don't know, hoodies, t-shirts, or keychains, or like whatever, pins that indicates that, oh my god, you're also into this band, and I've seen some people around the university, obviously, of course, with those accessories. And then I was like, oh my god, this person is also, into NCD or the boys. And then, but okay, I am a very shy person. For those who are into MBTI and information, I am INFJ. So you that's the answer. Like, probably how what's the type about. So I'm like super shy, and I am very introverted. So it's also difficult for me to just come up to someone and start talking, or like be like, oh my god, hey, I like your shirt or hoodie or like whatever, and then connect on it. Like, I would love to be that person. I would love to just come up to people, and because it's also like, not, if someone doesn't want to, then it's fine, but it's just like, just giving you this sign, like, I know what is it about, and I'm also into it. um so if someone would see me, for example, walking around in the 80s t-shirt, then of course, if someone would come up to me, I would just feel this connection with someone already. And it doesn't also mean that we need to be friends, or like we need to start talking and being besties, but but it's just fun. It's just fun to know that there's some people. um but as I said, it's just not. I'm not this person, even though I would love to be, and I'm maybe now developing these skills as I'm talking right now, as I'm recording this podcast, which is also quite a big step for me because I am eventually going to publish it somewhere. Um, and I have no idea how big it's gonna be, and I'm not sure like what's gonna be the outcome of all of this, but I am doing stuff, so it's a big step for me, and also when it comes to the whole coming up with the podcast and the whole idea, I think my main inspiration for it was Eric Nam, and he still is my main inspiration. I think he's like the person that I'm looking up to when it comes to being like a host or uh like a radio host or like a podcast creator and a host as well. Because his Daebak show is just so fun, and obviously in most of the episodes he has K-pop idols joining and talking to him. So I think it's also very fun to have guests over and like just talking. They talk about so many different things, obviously all connected, but it's just so interesting. And it's like he's so natural in it. That's what I'm also like. I admire it so much that he's just so natural, but obviously he has a lot of experience in being a radio host and just like he's a public figure for years, of course. So he's a singer, he's an idol, he makes music, and he's been in so many shows and radio shows, and he has just so much experience in all of this that of course he's good at what he's doing, but he's just such a natural for me. And that's what I admire about him, I think, the most when it comes to like having your own podcast and stuff. So he's my main inspiration. And I think he is the person who made me actually think about having a podcast the most. I also 2 years ago when I just started my studies. I'm not sure like if any leisure and events management students listening, maybe also the assignment changed, but for English course, you eventually need to make an interview with someone from the industry, and like for the other course, professional leadership. For this course, we had to make a LinkedIn account, and which is super useful. So that's a good thing, to have it. But that was like my first introduction to this platform, and I just decided, okay, I don't really know anyone in the leisure industry that I can interview because it had to be someone from kind of like a leisure industry. Uh, so I just decided to look at LinkedIn, to find some people that I can maybe talk with, and then I found I just started following those entertainment companies on LinkedIn. And then on LinkedIn, you also have those like people who are connected to the company or like who has in their profile that they work at the company. So I just looked at all the people that were there and tried to see who can speak English, who can help me like being interviewed. And I just started like writing some messages and invitations, I guess, to people to see if anyone replies. Because as I said already before, just do it. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Like, also it's online. You just message people, that they're like 1,000 miles away. Like, you don't have to worry about this. So I was just like, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's try. Um, and I was kind of short of time because obviously you postpone everything in your studies, so it was like it was literally like the last week that I could make it, like I could have done it. So I was like very desperate as well. I was like so scared that I'm not gonna find anyone, I'm gonna fail the assignment. um so I also found another person who's doing her own podcast from India, and we had an interview. Well, I didn't use it for my assignment eventually, but I think maybe somewhere in the back of my head was also like, oh my god, it's so cool, you just meet people. Like, you don't even have to be in the same country, like you can just do it online as well. So that's super interesting that you can just connect with so many people from all over the world, that's also like using your platform and connections, and then just start talking about it and create some content for other people to be invested, and it can be also interesting for them. So I think that was also like my inspiration a little bit somewhere in the back of my head. But with this assignment, now that I remember, of course, since I was messaging a lot of people who were connected to the entertainment companies, I got to do an interview with Kim Yong Hoo, who is, well, he used to be a music producer and songwriter for SM Entertainment. Um, and he wrote songs, well, like Replay for Shiny, which is their debut song. And I feel like if anyone who's listening is like, a K-pop stan, obviously knows the song, iconic song. Shiny debuted in 2008. So, of course, when I got the response, I was like, "Oh my god!" And he also wrote "Love Like Oxygen" from for Shiny, um, and actually, as I said, that of course, like I got into K-pop 2016 with like Big Bang and EXO mostly, for which he also wrote some songs. He wrote "Can Bring Me Down" and "My Turn to Cry" for EXO. Um, or like wrote, or yeah, mostly writing lyrics, but yeah, just like producing the songs. um but for Love Like Oxygen by Shiny, it's actually, as I said, like Big Bang was like what got me, Big Bang and EXO were what was got me into K-pop, mostly because those was the two bands that actually showed up on YouTube, like when you wrote K-pop. But Love Like Oxygen was actually my first experience, like it was the first K-pop song ever that I've listened to, but that was not conscious. It was not conscious decision that was K-pop. You know what I mean? Like I just heard it somewhere with my friend, and then years after, when I actually got into it and I discovered Shiny and I discovered this song eventually, I was like, wait, I know this song. What? How do I know this? And yeah, I just found out with this friend that yeah, we actually listened to it by accident some years ago. So that was, so that's also like I did an interview with someone who wrote those songs, or like co-wrote, co-produced the songs that I love and like I listen to. So that was amazing. Like, and it also showed me like what are you capable of when you just start doing and start trying things out, because it's just about, yeah, just like this. Of course it's not easy, but I just want to also maybe show you the power of this. It is scary, and it is a lot of about coming out of your comfort zone a lot, but it really is important for your own development and for building your, yeah, your braveness. Is that a word? I hope so. So yeah, that was already 2 years ago. Of course, I had my up and downs in this period of time as well. So it's not like your energy, of course, has its up and down. So it's not like you're gonna be all the time so positive about everything, and you will have the energy to actually do stuff. And I understand that, of course. But as I said, just try out, just try it out, and I'm always here for you as well, especially when it comes to uh like, yeah, just things connected to K-pop, obviously. But if you have any questions, or just want to talk, or like connect, or anything, I'm here for you. And I think that's the ending point of the first episode, because the material is not as long as I was actually talking, because I've been talking for over an hour now, which you don't see by the length of this material, for sure. But my throat is kind of hurting because it's my first ever time trying to do something like this. So it's been a while now. I think it's enough for my throat. um, so I'm gonna round this off, but I would like to invite you to, of course, listen to another episodes, which are gonna. I will try to be consistent and post it. Let's not say how the frequency of it, but just regularly. But that's why I would like to invite you to follow my Instagram account, like created specifically for the podcast. You can find it at This Is K-pop Hub on Instagram. Whenever I'm gonna post it, I will probably just also write in the description, so you have it, so you can just click on the link and go follow the Instagram account. I'm gonna post there any updates about podcasts. I'm gonna also interact with you guys to see what do you want to hear about, what should I record about, what are you the most interested in, any type of collaborations, or do you have any questions? Just like everything, just go follow, and and we're gonna stay connected by this platform. So thank you so much for listening to this first episode, and I'm not gonna see you in the next one because you also can see me, but you're gonna hear me in the next one. So thank you so much.